Hi, welcome again to Love of Writing. These are just fun. I wanted to talk today about favorite books and what makes them favorites. Now, let me tell you, I have two favorite books, and I read both of them decades ago, but they both just stand out as they like live in me. They stand out in this way that is like, oh my gosh, that was such a great book. Literally decades ago. I haven't even read them since. And I will tell you them both. And they stand out to me for different reasons. The first one is by an author named Pearl S. Buck. It's called The Good Earth. Holy smokes, that was such a great book. And it was about like 19th century China, which I would have never picked that, but I was at the Youth Center in Chicago and there were just a ton of books. I was like, oh, what is this? And I picked it up and read it, and it stood out to me because it was a book about relationships, and it followed the life of this man and his wives and loves, and it was so fascinating. Pearl S. Buck, the way she writes, this is why it stands out to me, because of the writing. She was so phenomenal. And I remember decades ago when I read this, that I would read a certain sentence and then just stop and just be like, what was that? The way she phrases things was so phenomenal. I literally just would read and reread a section because the way she put it was just, it just blew my mind. And it has stood out over all these decades of all these other things I've read. And like I said, I haven't read it since. It just stood out as just blowing me away with her, just her phraseology and her sentence structure. And she was able to just work in these emotions of these characters. Wow. So Pearl S. Buck, The Good Earth, fantastic, highly recommended. Another one I read, I think I was probably in college, so a long time ago. And it was a book by Dean Koontz called Watchers, The Watchers, I believe it was. And oh my gosh, it was so great because of the storyline. And I couldn't even tell you what it was about fully. I do remember there was some scientific stuff going on in this ultra intelligent dog and these other characters. And it was so wonderful because it reached into me and got my emotions. I remember I was reading it when I was in Chicago. I lived in Chicago and I was on the L train. So I would be reading it to work or from work. And there were times I would be laughing my head off in the train. It just had really funny parts that just spoke to me. And then there were times that were so emotional. I was crying on the train. I'm bawling reading this book. It really just reached into me. And let me tell you, the hallmark of a great book is when you are done, because like I so connected with the characters and this ultra intelligent dog, and it just got my emotions so involved that by the end of this book, I missed the characters. When I was done, I missed the characters. That is the hallmark of a great book. Like, oh, it's almost like they become your friends because you feel like you know them so well. And oh my gosh, if you can do that for your reader, whoo, you have slam dunk. So Pearl S. Buck, The Good Earth, and Dean Koontz, Watchers or The Watchers. Fantastic books. So read them.